Thank you, Acting Speaker. I rise today to contribute to the COVID-19 Commercial Tenancy Relief Bill 2021. It comes as no surprise to anyone that these last 16 to 18 months have seen unprecedented struggles for Victorian businesses in our state's modern history. The resilience of all of our community, our small businesses, in facing and responding to this pandemic is truly remarkable. We've seen many businesses show extraordinary resilience and adapt, and in some cases, even create new business opportunities. The tenacity of Victorians is profound, but of course with the necessary lockdowns to keep Victorians safe has obviously had an impact on Victoria's small business community. The impact on businesses and the health of Victorians of our not locking down in a health crisis would have created a far greater economic pain. We're seeing this in other states currently and overseas, and the economic impacts of COVID-19 pandemic will be felt for much longer as the environment that many businesses operated in has changed. In particular, the way many Victorians live and work has been inexplicably altered. Many Victorians are still working from home. COVID has accelerated that experience. We've seen many families and individuals move to the regional areas of Victoria. The demographics of our communities have changed as international visitors, students and immigrants have declined. Previous business conditions won't automatically return because of COVID vaccination efforts is successful. Even with a worldwide decline in COVID infections, many overseas communities have their own economies changed, and this economic situation will potentially impact Victoria's economy as well. Hesitancy for families to be separated from each other will be a consideration for many international students, business people, migrants, and of course our visitors. As we emerge from the pandemic, we will see a very different economic reality. We have seen demographic changes where families have moved away from being closer to central business areas to regional areas and further out. Some families have looked to have larger spaces and closer to more recreational facilities, parks and nature. This of course means that as they move, the businesses that they used to frequent see a reduction in patronage, and alternately new businesses in their area have new customers. Some of these people create businesses of themselves or relocate to operate their business differently. The resilience of small business community in Victoria has been absolutely amazing, and of course many of these businesses may need to adapt to this new change, not just because of lockdowns but because of the change in our economy. Now more than ever, Victoria's small businesses need our support. Many of the business operators I have spoken to used to be able to rely on the support from the federal government. But now, in the absence of JobKeeper, many of these businesses are still facing uncertain economic conditions. During the pandemic, my office made a conscious effort to further support the Melton electorate small business community. We advertised in the local Moorabool News, who continue to publish continually and support the Moorabool community. In our adverts, we often encourage readers to buy local and support local, especially when cafes and restaurants were restricted to takeaway only. Our adverts encourage locals to support these businesses. Recently, my electorate office was being renovated, and during those many months of being away from that office, we made sure to use the many wonderful local cafes for meeting constituents and staff meetings when we were able to do so. I'd like to shout out to the following cafes and restaurants: Lola's Cafe in Bacchus Marsh, Baby Black Espresso, Little Lucky Cafe, Matilda Bakery Cafe and the Jolly Miller Cafes, both in Melton and Bacchus Marsh. All these local businesses have had amazing staff, fantastic food and of course fabulous coffee. Thank you for opening up your businesses to my office during my office renovations. I encourage everyone to still get out and enjoy the hospitality of these and the many other local businesses in the Melton electorate. Advanced Stationers Melton have also supplied my electorate office over many years, but I was delighted to restock my office once we moved in with supplies from the fantastic local business, and I encourage others to look in your own backyard. You can be surprised at what you find. Often the prices are far better or still competitive, and I can almost guarantee the service from your local business will be miles ahead of many big retailers. Many businesses have adapted and sought new models to trade. One such business was Interior Motive in Bacchus Marsh. that during the lockdown moved to an online auctions and contactless delivered to the door of their customers, and has been a very successful move by that business operator. This resilience and creativity have been seen right across many small businesses in the Melton electorate and, of course, right across Victoria. I would also like to commend the BP service station and their staff in Mattingley and Bacchus Marsh. They provide a valued service for the community, including small groceries and takeaway food, and not just fuel. They have done brilliantly in the wake of the Delta variant breakout at the local grammar school. They sought assistance from our office, and I know from the member of Buninyong's office, who's currently in the chair, to assist them in returning to operations as soon as they possibly could. And they wanted to continue to serve their customers and also provide continuing employment for their staff. Previously, the Commercial Tenancy Relief Scheme played a very important role in helping many of these small businesses to survive, and importantly provided a strong framework for small commercial tenants to negotiate for rent relief. It's important that this government acts decisively once again to back our small businesses and reintroduce the Commercial Tenancy Relief Scheme. Acting Speaker, the Commercial Tenancy Relief Bill 2021 will enable the regulations to be reintroduced. It will ensure that the scheme will be as consistent as possible with the original scheme. This is even more important now that the JobKeeper program is so notably absent. The scheme will run until the 15th of January 2022, and the Act will cease on the 30th of April 2022. This bill, like the previous scheme, the 2021 Commercial Tenancy Relief Scheme, will provide support to small businesses with a turnover under $50 million that have suffered a decline of at least 30% in their turnover. It is expected that most commercial tenants and landlords will continue to work together to reach agreements that will best assist the ongoing survival of businesses. Where the landlord or tenant cannot reach agreement, either party may refer the matter for free mediation by the Victorian Small Business Commission. The VSBC will receive an additional $3 million in funding to meet increased mediation costs from introducing this Commercial Tenancy Relief Scheme. I commend the many landlords and tenants that have already participated in negotiations in good faith and have reached agreements to ensure that as many businesses as possible survive the impact of COVID-19. I also understand that many landlords will be unhappy with the decision to reintroduce the Commercial Tenancy Relief Scheme. We're seeking to address some of their concerns, including through taking into account their feedback in the design of regulations to improve the practical operation of the Commercial Tenancy Relief Scheme. For example, timely responses between parties. Outlining behaviours that will be able to be taken into consideration by the Victorian Civil and Administrative Tribunal as evidence of good faith negotiations by both tenants and landlords. And of course, additional resourcing and service delivery improvements to deliver timely mediation through the VSBC. The Victorian Government has also announced a $120 million support package for commercial landlords that face hardship from providing rent relief to tenants under the proposed scheme. This government has taken decisive approaches to protect the health of Victorians during this pandemic. It is now clear that prioritising health is the clear pathway to economic recovery. Today we saw a zero-case donut day in Victoria as the dangerous Delta variant spreads throughout other parts of the Australian Commonwealth. And I would like to congratulate Victorians and Victorian business operators. No one enjoys lockdowns, but businesses in Victoria are operating, albeit in difficult circumstances, when other businesses in other jurisdictions remain closed. Providing a health response in a pandemic is a clear path to economic recovery. Businesses, and in particular small businesses, have assisted with the health response by complying with the health orders, and I thank them for their efforts in helping to drive this virus to the ground. Supporting small businesses to recover and thrive is essential as we look to rebuild from the challenges of the last 18 months. I congratulate the ministers responsible for their hard work on this scheme, to the Treasurer, to the Premier for their great leadership to ensure that Victorians are safe and rebuild its economy in this challenging time. Acting Speaker, I commend this bill to the House.